Welcome back to another trade recap. Today is April the 9th. Took two trades today, one winner and one loser. One trade on Intel and one trade on AMD. This month, we are seeing some nicer price action here. We are seeing some more follow through in the markets, which is nice to see, of course. Now, with that being said, let's really hop straight into the charts. So coming into market open here, we were leaning a little bit more towards the upside just based off of the major gap that we had on the higher time frames. Of course, we gapped up a few days ago with the war news. So now we're just looking for continuation towards the upside. One of the names that we're looking for was Intel. Of course, we were looking at that one yesterday. That was by far the best trade of the day. I personally didn't take any trades yesterday. Today, I took two trades. As I mentioned, I'm up $3,600. Sorry, just need to reconnect my keyboard here. $3,600, still in about 10, I think 10 to 15% of my Intel, looking for that potential all-time highs move. And then did take another trade on AMD, which happened to be a loser on a little bit of lighter size. Took a little bit off at high day, but not enough for this one to be any sort of winner. Ended up taking a loss in this one, but Intel made up for it. Before we head on to the exact trades I ended up taking, let's go on to the pre-market game plan for today. So coming into market open, what I like to see is a reaction that we have off previous day lows. Today is the first day in a while where we have not had huge move in the overnight session. What I like to see is a previous day hold, previous day low hold for a push towards the upside. Main names are semis and memory. EMD has a gap fill towards the upside. SNDK at all-time highs. MU above our previous day highs. Intel making a brand new high as well. Meta and Amazon stronger compared to the overall markets this morning, as we had some news yesterday on Meta as well. So a couple names that we're looking for. The only name that we're looking for some downside was Tesla. Tesla pop and fade yesterday. Another pop and fade this morning here as well. So Tesla ended up being a nice trade towards the downside. But with that being said, let's go on to the exact trades that we ended up taking. Before we do that, let's kind of talk about the thesis coming into market open. So coming into market open, as I mentioned, we had this huge gap up in the overall markets. Now we're opening up right in between our previous day's range. What we like to see is really continuation higher. As long as you can maintain above that previous day lows, expecting the overall markets to move higher here. SPY, fairly similar thesis. Above our previous day lows, we're looking for continuation higher just based off the gap that we created the day previous. So long bias in the overall markets this morning. And some of the trades that I liked, AMD for this potential gap fill towards the upside, right? We had this earnings gap. We had a couple other names that we're interested in. The main names, we had some of the semis and memory names, right? MU, we're looking for continuation. SNDK was at all-time highs. Intel was one of the main ones, as you can see here. Yesterday, we're keeping an eye out for this one above our yearly highs for this push towards the upside. And of course, if we're on the weekly time frame, we kind of talked about this one, expecting it to gravitate towards our all-time highs key level. So one of my favorite names in the overall markets, push up and towards our 60, which of course is our all-time highs that we created here back in 2021. So that was one of our main objectives. So we're looking for Intel push towards the high. So coming to market open, Intel was one of our main watches above our previous day highs here. Of course, this one also did have some news in the pre-market. Once it ended up reclaiming back above, we were interested in some upside. So for Intel, we had this immediate retest right off the bat. This could have been an entry right off the bat, but this one would have been fairly aggressive. The next entry that we did have was essentially just this higher low off our previous day highs. So buyer stepped in, entry, stop, really a break underneath our previous day highs, looking for a continuation towards the upside. 161 was our main target, and of course our all-time highs here as well, which still it could gravitate towards. It might kind of consolidate a little bit more here now, maybe head there later today or maybe tomorrow morning. But Intel, solid move towards the upside. End up taking the 60 calls, end up moving nicely, over 50-60% on those contracts. And then, of course, end up taking another trade, which was on AMD. I think it finally hit the gap or very close to it, which was that full daily gap on the higher time frame. So for AMD, this one, we had that full daily gap that we mentioned. This was back from earnings. earlier in February, dropped towards the downside. So for AMD, we're looking for that gap fill higher. Wanted to see, right, the previous day high breaking retest. This one was a little bit tougher to trade just because we had our previous day highs. We had multiple levels. So the reclaim level was kind of right at our high of day. Plus we had our reclaim level is right above our previous day highs. Plus, we had high of day right above. So the best entry would have honestly been the reclaim, either back above this 234. Opted in for kind of this like 5 minute range retest, had a little bit of continuation, hit high of day, but ultimately ended up failing. So ended up cutting the position back there. But now you can see 5 minute kind of setting up, and now we're gravitating back towards the upside here. Should see that full gap fill, but there's a couple nice opportunities. Even we have Meta pushing nicely, Amazon pushing nicely to fill its gap here as well, which was that nice gap fill. Earnings actually just hit it perfectly. So there's a couple nice trades. Tesla had this nice pop and fade kind of off that 346 we talked about down in towards that 338. Now you're seeing a little bit of a bounce off that level, but you can see the overall markets, there's some nice opportunities shaping up here. So Qs and SPY now with this bounce, and now you can see Qs bouncing back towards the upside here now as well. We're seeing some nicer moves on the overall markets. We're seeing some nicer moves on the tech names and some individual names here as well, which is very nice to see. I'm seeing a lot more follow through ever since, of course, we had that bounce a few days ago. Some nice names are setting up here on the higher time frames, which is great to see. We should see some nicer price action coming into mid-April and to kind of end off the month. The next major thing that we do have, of course, is going to be that war news in about 2 weeks. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. Besides that, that is going to be it for me today. Fairly short recap. I will have a full updated trade statistics for you guys. I'm still in a few positions, so I'll have a full update for you guys either tomorrow or next week to show you guys my full P&L. With that being said, let's pull up the live session that we have for us today. So as I kind of play out the tape, coming to market open, as I mentioned, we were in between its previous day's range. One of our main names that we're keeping an eye on for right off the bat was, of course, Intel above our previous day highs. You can see kind of an immediate retest here. Didn't really want to be too aggressive on this one, even though it did have a higher time frame thesis just because of this huge upper wick here in the pre-market. So I was just looking for a higher low here on Intel. Another name I was somewhat interested in as well was that AMD reclaim back above our previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. But basically, as Intel was showing a little bit of buyers stepping in, right, Qs was trying to reclaim back above that opening print here as well. Interested in Intel as we keep playing it out. Intel's actually coming back down, right? AMD is trying to reclaim back above. But as you can see right here, basically Intel breaking it back above its previous candle high, Qs pushing back towards the upside here as well. So this is when I was interested in Intel towards the upside. I ended up taking the 60 calls on this one for a push back towards the high. So Qs breaking back above our opening print, pushing back towards the upside. A trade could have been the AMD reclaim back above this 234. I wanted Intel push back towards the upside here. So I ended up entering on those 60 calls. And as you can see, this one, immediate pop up in towards high days, which was nice with the Qs popping here as well. And as I speed up the tape, I personally didn't take any off on that first initial pop. And then as we keep playing it out, this one pushing up nicely, AMD, nice push up in towards highs. Tesla was actually one that you could have kept an eye out for. I wanted to see that pop and fade up and towards that 376. Didn't quite get there, but that initial idea, same thing as yesterday, that kind of pop and fade towards the downside and towards that 337, which would have been nice. Qs went from high of day to low of day, and then went from low of day back up and towards high of day. And Intel, nice kind of push up right in towards our key levels, which was at 61. Contracts at that point moved up fairly nicely, took off a majority of my position there, and now leaving some trailers. And yeah, that was about it. If we kind of keep playing out the tape, Intel kind of marked out that 5 minute order block, still holding a little bit to see if we can get that continuation towards the upside. But yeah, really not too much today besides a couple names that had some moves. Qs is pushing towards the upside here now, which we'll kind of talk about a little bit tomorrow with CPI. But overall markets, now holding key levels, continue to push towards upside. We should get some nice opportunities moving forward. I haven't been doing these trade recaps as often just because I haven't been taking as much trades, and overall the market has been slower. So if you guys do want me to post any other different types of content, let me know. I'm probably going to start making some news videos and some kind of like more weekly outlooks. That I used to post on Sundays. I'm going to post like a different type of version, but I think it'll be very important. Yeah, with that being said, I'm going to call it a day here. Hopefully, you guys did enjoy that. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.